Hi everybody. Given that this Sunday I will leave for the French Alps myself, I will unfortunately not be in a position to provide daily previews for the final week of this year's tour. Given that it feels like I'm letting you down, especially those coming back here on a daily basis, I figured I'd still leave you with a quick recap of week 2 and a preview of what's to expect in the final week of the Tour de France. Please note that I'm recording this ahead of Sunday's stage 15, so please consider the actual race situation, crashes, dropouts, and the likes ahead of the upcoming stages. Going into the final week, the riders will have covered roughly 2,650 kilometers and 34,000 meters of elevation gain, which is roughly 3/4 of the total race distance, yet only 65% of the climbing. So yes, the hardest is yet to come. Yet let's first have a quick look back at week 2. On stage 10, all teams decided there was no point in even trying to set up a break. And in the end, Alpecin got it right, with a massive lead out by Mathieu, and Philipsen scoring a dominant win ahead of Girmay and Akkerman. Pogačar tried to end the Tour on stage 11, yet Vingegaard clawed back and beat Pogačar to the line, with Evenepoel following 25 seconds behind. Girmay rode the perfect sprint on stage 12, taking his third stage win ahead of Van Aert and Akkerman. Stage 13 had it all and turned out as a hard day of racing, with Philipsen taking his second stage win, with once more Van Aert and Akkerman completing the podium. On the first day in the Pyrenees, UAE took control of the stage and delivered a serious blow to Vingegaard. With Adam Yates up the road, Pogačar made his move with 4.5k to go and made it stick. Stage 15 still has to be raced at the time of recording. Check out my stage 15 preview to check out what I'm expecting to happen. Here's the GC going into stage 15, with Evenepoel dropping to third, yet well ahead of Almeida in P4. At this point, only 15 riders remain within 20 minutes of Pogačar. The riders are up for a savage final week of racing, where unless strange things happen, we should get to witness a great battle between Pogačar and Vingegaard, with Remco, who will try and secure the podium. Hang on till the end to see whom I think will prevail. The standings at the top of the green jersey competition remain unchanged. Girmay sits solidly in the lead with a 76-point lead over Philipsen. Mathematically, the green jersey isn't secured yet, but there's very few points on offer which can realistically still go to a sprinter. On stage 16, there's 70 points on offer, and on stages 17 and 19, technically the intermediate sprint points could be an option, good for 40 points, so 110 points maximum in total, making this a near impossible exercise for Philipsen. So unless strange things happen, Girmay will take home the green jersey. In the KOM standings, Pogačar is now moving ahead, and with 60 points on offer in stage 15 only, a lot can still happen. In my opinion, Pogačar is very likely to win the polka dot jersey though. At 188k, with 1200 meters of climbing, stage 16 will be the last real sprint chance. As on stage 13, echelons are once more an option, yet the layout of this stage makes it unlikely in my book that we'll get to see the stage being raced as hard as stage 13. The finish is flat, yet features a bunch of roundabouts breaking up the final straight. As a reminder, here's how the fast men have been doing this tour, and this is going to be their last chance. Amongst them, Akkerman, Philipsen, Girmay and Van Aert are the most consistent. Girmay and Philipsen are my 4-star favorites for stage 16. Van Aert, Akkerman and Groenewegen get 3 stars, Cavendish, Deli and Kristoff 2, and Bauhaus and Bennett each get 1 star. In terms of podium prediction, I'm calling Philipsen to also complete a hat-trick ahead of Girmay and Akkerman. As mentioned in my intro, these predictions are made based on the info I have going into stage 15, so keep a close look at riders dropping out or clearly suffering and adjust my takes accordingly. Stage 17 basically climbs all day, good for 3,100 meters of elevation gain over 178 kilometers. So at the risk of making the same mistake as on my stage 11 prediction, it has all the features of a breakaway to me, even though the opening 130k climb only gently and do make it possible to control the break. The main obstacle of the day is the Col du Noyer, presenting the riders with 7.5k at 8.4% average. Here's some names that come to mind. With still a few days to go, I'm calling Bardet for this one. And the opportunities for the breakaway continue on stage 18, where the Col du Festre presents a perfect spot for the break to form. The stage continues going up and down, good for over 3,000 meters of elevation gain, over the 180k stage. Here's some of the riders to watch for this stage in my book, and I'm calling Van der Poel for the win. And then it's time to move into the decisive weekend of the 2024 Tour de France, comprising of 2 mountain stages with mountaintop finishes and an individual time trial where everything can still be lost or won. Starting with stage 19, which goes to high altitude on 3 climbs. Overall, the riders will gain 4,400 meters of elevation gain in this 145k short yet brutal stage. The riders will cross the Or category Col de Vars, a 19k irregular climb, which is followed by the Or category Cime de la Bonnette, a beautiful climb which goes up to 2,800 meters and which has a nasty pinch in the tail to end atop the first category Isola 2000 climb. A lot will depend here on the standings in GC. If that looks fairly decisive, this stage may well go to the break. If not, expect an all-out war here, with the GC guys battling it out. This stage is too far out to call names, yet look for the usual suspects on GC and those who dropped out of the GC running or whom are trying to get into the top 10 from the break. The same logic applies to stage 20, a brutal stage, only 133k long, yet raking up the climbs, Col de Brasse, Col de Turigny, Col de la Colmian and finishing atop the Col de la Couillole, 15.7k at 7% average. Good for a total of 4,600 meters of climbing. Look for the same guys that did well on stage 19 or a GC rider that has dropped out of contention and going for a stage win. The Paris-Nice regulars will be racing over familiar terrain, but that won't make things any easier if the contest for the yellow jersey is still raging, particularly over such a short distance. The battle could commence as far out as the climb to the Col de Brasse. There will then be no respite on the climbs of the Col de Turigny, de la Colmian and finally de la Couillole, the final ascent extending for 15.7k at an average gradient of 7.1%. Of course, we're all hoping for a GC battle royale here. Finally, we'll get the ITT from Monaco to Nice, 34k with some proper climbing, a total of 728 meters of elevation gain, which will decide on the Tour de France. Expect this to be a 3-way battle between Pogačar, Vingegaard and Evenepoel. It's too early to tell whether we'll be treated with a decisive Le Mans-Fignon 1989 style stage, which was the last time we had an ITT finishing the Tour, but we can only hope so. For GC, as things stand now, I expect Pogačar to prevail ahead of Vingegaard and Evenepoel holding on to the podium and the white jersey. And that's a wrap for me, people. Thank you very much for tagging along. Enjoy this final week of the Tour de France. I'm going to be an offliner for most of it. You can consider it seriously bad planning on my end. I'll try to sort that better next year. That being said, there's still a lot more to come this season. San Sebastian and Il Lombardia, the Worlds and the Vuelta. I keep my upcoming previews updated in the About section of my channel. Have a good one, enjoy the summer and see you in August.